Hi friends, welcome back to Farm Girl Diaries. My name is Caitlin and we are doing an impromptu garden video today. I'm gonna bring you along because I think for garden it's important to show the good parts about the garden, and it's also good to show the bad parts of the garden. So to give you a little bit of a rundown on my season, it is August something or other. It's mid-teens, mid-August. And right now it's about 60 degrees outside. It feels gorgeous. But that plays into how this year has been. So this year, we actually probably got a 3-week head start. I had my peppers, I think, planted out in early May. And typically I don't plant my peppers till the end of May. Everything was able to get in the ground much earlier because we had a much early summer. Summer came like 3 weeks earlier than it typically does. And so I'm thinking that's going to be the same with the fall. So we are supposed to get hot temperatures again next week, normal August temperatures for Labor Day. But I think that's about it. I think they've said summer is kind of on its way out and we are supposed to be expecting cooler weather coming in. So that's okay. That's okay. My garden is definitely ready for a break from the heat, that's for sure. I'm ready for a break from the heat. It feels so nice outside. One of my favorite things in the fall is to drink hot cider, and it's fall weather, and I told my mom, I'm like, I want to go get hot cider and she's like, it's too early to start getting cider, you need to wait a little bit, but it feels gorgeous. So I'm coming into the garden because it's such a gorgeous day and I want to do some work, and I'm just seeing a ton of just issues, times like this, that I question, do I still want to garden or do I want to stop gardening? Now, we all know the answer. I'm never going to stop gardening, but I reached the point where nothing is going right, and some of it is the summer heat, some of it is pests, some of it is probably me, but I thought I'd show you everything that is going wrong. So we're going to start with the latest thing that I did is this whole heap of shade cloth here, which I can now take off because every single fall vegetable I planted in there is gone. They're all gone. Every single one, all gone. So I did notice they were starting to get eaten, so I put Sluggo out because that's what was eating them. That did nothing. That did nothing. So the plants are completely gone. I found one stem and that's it. So we're still possibly early. So my plan was to keep these hoops that needed to be fixed, and then come like cold weather, cover them in plastic, so I could hopefully have like a high tunnel greenhouse type effect in there. That's where I had the brassicas this spring, and they just got decimated from the slugs then too. So I think this area is not good for this year. We need to do some heavy treating with some Sluggo. So my latest plan is I want to rip this corn out. So let's go down and let me find Sawyer, see where Sawyer is. Oh, she's laying down. So let's go look at this corn and talk about the corn. So I wanted to leave the corn and let it dry kind of on the vine. I am tired of the mess, or not dry on the vine, but like dry in place. And it is starting to dry, like clearly. But I'm not enjoying the look of this corn anymore. The garden is just a mess. It's August, this is what happens. But I'm not enjoying it anymore. So, and this happens every single August. If I kind of pan you around, show you like all of this gives me anxiety. This gives me such anxiety. I know I reclaim it every single year, but I'm not having a good time. So I am going to rip out this corn. I'm going to start ripping it out today. I'm going to rip out this corn and I'm going to let it dry out of the ground. And then what I'm thinking is I think I'm going to go downstairs in my seed room, start some more brassicas, get another round going, and then put them and the high tunnel in this kind of what I call the open field. This is typically the open field, the pasture of my garden. So I'm thinking this is a good idea. Get this corn out, and then I didn't have slugs here in the spring that I know of. So see if I can't move the brassicas here and give me brassicas in this space here. So that's the first failure of the day. The second failure of the day is, let me I can get this to show up on camera. So that is an open spot. So I have beans the whole way down there. And then I have sweet peas. Or not sweet peas, sweet potatoes. But that is a big open spot with a lot of stems missing. And it kind of goes the whole way down. So those are my bean plants. And something is obviously munching on them. So I'm very unhappy about that. I'm pretty sure that's my bean plants. And I do have beans on the bean plants. You can see there are some beans right along the fence there. I'll bring you in closer and show you. So we're still gonna get something. Are we gonna get what we should have gotten at this point? Probably not. But the sweet potatoes, so far, I don't think are being eaten. I don't think. So you can see there are some beans. And there are some dried beans right there. So there are a lot of beans on, and then the sweet potatoes here are looking great, huge. This is all sweet potatoes. And then come down here, I don't really know what is sweet potatoes. So that's a sweet potato plant right there, but it doesn't look like it got very big. So this is, I think, mainly just beans from like this whole bean section over here. So I don't know that I'm gonna have a great sweet potato harvest down here. So I noticed that I was starting to have something eaten, what I think is my beans. I noticed it a couple of days ago, and it is kind of working its way down the path. I'm assuming it's rabbits. And what are you gonna do about it? I have a fence on this garden. Rabbits still can get in. So at this point, we are taking what we are taking, and we are not throwing a fit. But I am ready to start reclaiming this garden as much as I possibly can. Oh, I have dirt on my face. Oh no, it's a mosquito. The mosquitoes, though, are having no problems in this garden. So another issue that I'm having, I think this is the last issue that I'm having, is my tomatoes. So I did just harvest a little basket of, I got some peppers. Look at this. I love when peppers change color. They get like stripy. It's not fun. If you don't know, all peppers start out green and then they change color to whatever color you want. So if you leave a green pepper on a vine, it will change to its normal color. Okay, so I came out here. I haven't harvested tomatoes in probably a week or more, and that is all I got. And I got 2 big tomatoes. That's one nice big one, a small one. So my tomatoes are definitely on their way out, and the heat will do that. There's a couple things going on. First of all, this wasn't me problem. If you walk back over to my tomatoes, I have 2 cherry tomatoes, which is largely what you see here. They're doing absolutely massive. And then in here, there should be tomatoes up past this. These are 5-foot posts, and I think at this point they're actually about, well, I guess they're almost 5 foot. But you can see tomatoes aren't even close. So my trellising on the tomatoes was terrible. They didn't grow. So I kind of called it a day on like the big beef tomatoes. But the cherry tomatoes, I'm still supposed to be bringing in. And at this point, they're all split on the vine. We had a hurricane come in a week and a half ago, dumped about 10 inches of rain, and everything split. I came in and shook everything off. I think there's still too much water in the ground at this point. We were in a drought, so we have had the exact opposite of what we've needed. We were in a drought all summer. Now I could use a little bit of dryness, and we keep getting rain. So I guess I shouldn't complain because we're not in a drought anymore. But my tomatoes are still all splitting. They're all splitting, and then what is actually being produced is coming out a lot smaller. So what happens at the end of the season, your tomatoes get stressed, they kind of run out of nutrients, they get old, and they don't put out as vigorously or as big of tomatoes as they did in the beginning of the season. And that's definitely what's happening here. I don't know, it's happening earlier for me than normal, and I don't know if this is because I'm not trellising, if this is because of the no rain and then extra rain, if this is because of the heat. I don't really know what the situation is, but all I know is it is happening. So I did get my tomato products done. I didn't need to do much this year. I just did a year's worth of salsa, and I did a couple jars of chili base. I am going to go to the market this weekend and get some more tomatoes because I want to do at least one more round of chili base, and maybe some tomato jam. We'll see how much I really want to supplement, but I think at this point I'm about all out of my tomatoes. That sucks, but we got some. But we definitely need to take this and learn what we need to do better next year. The cherry tomatoes are doing fantastic, or did fantastic, because they're absolutely massive. They're taking up this whole bed. But the trellising really killed me. So I really need to get better with that. So without further ado, I'm gonna go start ripping out some corn. I don't know if I'm gonna get the whole thing done today or not. I'm gonna put on a jacket so I don't get myself all itchy. But we're gonna go start ripping out some corn. So yeah, so this is just to kind of bring you guys along and show you not everything is a success. There is something to be said about gardening where you increase your yield and you put all of this work in so you get the maximum yield that you can possibly get. And that's obviously the goal. You want to get as much as you can possibly get. However, you also want to just get something, right? So I've been eating fresh off my, I've been eating fresh out of this garden for months at this point. Did I get what I should have gotten? No. Everything, I think I've had issues with everything. I planted, I think, 4 zucchini. Only 2 actually gave me zucchini. 2 didn't give me any zucchini. I'll go show you my green beans. My green beans are just starting to come in. I haven't had any green beans yet. And let me see if I can show you. And they are just starting to come in. So I don't have any green beans frozen, and I have only 1 jar canned. So this is something that we are going to stay on top of to make sure that we are getting our green beans. But again, why did they come in so late? I have no idea. So this is definitely not, I don't want to say it's an off year, because gardening, my goal for gardening is to feed myself through the winter. And I think I was still pretty successful. I didn't get my broccoli harvest that I should have gotten for the year. I have to supplement that. As long as I get green beans, I'll be okay there. But I still have enough canned stuff from last year, and I'm still putting back peppers. I still did a whole bunch of zucchini products. I still have 1 zucchini that we're gonna plant somewhere where the slugs aren't gonna get it. So definitely we still had a successful garden. It didn't yield what it should have yielded for reasons I honestly don't know, but it was still a successful garden. So at this point, I am definitely getting antsy. If you can kind of scroll around, there are paths all the way through there. There's one, there's a path there. There's a path, where's my hand? There's a path here. This is hard to do. There's a path there. There's paths, and you can't see the paths with all these weeds going on. So I'm excited to start reclaiming my garden. So we're gonna start reclaiming our garden. We can even see. By getting rid of that corn patch. Okay, I got about half of it cleared out. I still have to go. I sure planted a lot of corn this year. But I'm starting to lose the light, and I have some house projects I want to do. It's I think around 8 o'clock right now. So I have some house projects I want to do before I call it a night and go to bed. So I think I'm gonna leave half of that corn there for now. I got half of it down. So I'll finish this probably tomorrow. Maybe, we'll see. But whenever I finish the corn, I'll bring you guys along. And we are going to cover the ground, because as soon as you leave ground open, it's going to grow weeds. There's already weeds growing there. So I'll bring you guys along for that. And hopefully, I have 3rd time's the charm with brassicas this year, right? So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hi friends, it's a few days later, and I finally got to come back out here, and the corn patch is gone. So there are a ton of weeds. Well, not a ton. I pulled out a lot of the weeds, but there are still weeds left over. But I'm going to show you how I handle this. So all in all, This probably took me about 45 minutes to pull out. Let me swing you this way. I don't know how to do this. Let me swing you this way. So I have a big pile here of my corn stalks, and then right here I have a pile of my weeds. So my corn stalks are really kind of already starting to dry. I'm gonna let them continue to dry kind of in this pile. My hope is that this weekend I can come out and get them kind of piled in their own individual corn stalk stacks, get them tied off, and then kind of just set them to the side, stack them up somewhere so they can dry. We'll see if I get to that this weekend or not. And then the brush, I'm just going to load up in my truck and take it to the farm, my parents' farm, and dump it off in the woods. If I didn't have that, I'd just throw it in the garbage. So all of this came out quite easily. Again, I pulled it just with bare hands. I do have some spots where I have some thistle left, but I am not going to worry about that right now. It's 7:30. I just got back from a dinner, and I just really wanted the corn stalks gone. And I'll show you why before we get into the purpose of that big box. I'll show you why. If we scroll this way, there are so many weeds. So many weeds. And now I will say they all come up super easily. Right behind you is a massive patch of thistle. So this year I experimented. There is a thorn somewhere in my foot or in my shoe. I can feel it. So I experimented this year. No, it's in my foot. Okay, well I can't feel it, so hopefully it's gone. Anywho, so we experimented this year with, I have uncontrollable thistle. I'll show you. It's literally everywhere. It's literally everywhere. As you can see, I have a big patch of thistle there. It spreads like freaking wildfire. I tried for years to get rid of it, unsuccessful. And it's taken over the garden, and it's continuing to spread. It started off at the back of my property, and this spreading up. The top of my yard doesn't really have thistle at all, but it is increasing, it's encroaching that way. So I finally decided this year I was going to just spray the Roundup, spray the poison to kill the thistle, so it doesn't continue to like kind of take over my whole property, because I can't get it under control. So I sprayed Roundup. I was probably up through July really diligent. I saw thistle, I sprayed it. It killed the thistle, but the thistle kept coming back. So I still have thistle that is just not doing anything. So what I'm gonna do is when I get the whole garden out, like back here I have a whole big patch of thistle, I am probably gonna spray it one more time, and maybe I need to let it overwinter, spray it, and then have a nice cold frost where it kind of keeps everything dead and doesn't get to come back. That's kind of like my last ditch hope now, but at this point I don't think that's gonna happen. I said I was gonna commit to a year, like a solid summer, and I did. I don't think it's successful, so we need to figure out a different way to kind of get the thistle under control. But the garden's so weedy, I just needed to start getting the garden under control. And this is what happens, and I keep talking about it, and I kind of talk about it so much to make myself feel better. The August garden is a lot. The August garden, she's hot, she likes to put on weeds, everything grows like gangbusters. It happens every single year. I know it, you know it, we all know it, it happens. But it's always the time that I get the most anxiety. Up until August, I love the garden. I think the garden's beautiful and brilliant, and she brings me so much happiness and so much peace. And right now, she's not bringing me any happiness or any peace. She's just bringing me anxiety. So we're going to start kind of trying to rein this in. The biggest portion that's bringing me anxiety is this kind of patch right here. It runs the whole length of my garden, and that is beans and that is sweet potatoes. So my sweet potatoes aren't quite ready to come up yet. I typically will let my sweet potatoes go until the frost. So we are at least a month away from a frost, if not a solid 2 months. So we have some time with this. It does come out really easy, so let me show you. Let me kind of turn you. it comes out super easy. So I'm just gonna go pull some of it to show you how easy these weeds do come out. And then we'll talk about this corn patch. So I was able to get some of those, and you saw like that one I had to give a little bit of a tug, but nothing that you had to really kind of dig or work at. And the second pile that I pulled came out super easily. The problem is especially the beans are kind of growing up the grasses. I think I pulled a bean out when I did that. So when you go to pull the weeds, you also kind of sacrifice your plants. So unfortunately, I can't really do anything with that patch right now, so we're trying to ignore it. But let's talk about this corn patch. When we turn it around, I'll show you the corn patch and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so here is my big lovely corn patch. You can see there is a lot of still green. We got some grasses, some red dead nettle. I think it's red dead nettle. Red dead nettle is done right now. It should be done, but that's what it looks like. Anywho, so there was a ton of corn stalks. They were growing super close together, but we did have some really spindly tall weeds, a lot of grass. We had a lot of grass growing in between the corn. So we just spent, honestly, no more than 45 minutes pulling the corn stalks and kind of pulling all these weeds out of here, and we did it over the course of 2 days, so that's not bad. So I have a good chunk of it gone. Again, you can still see some of the grass, some of the weeds. This space is going to be my fall planting space. So I can't use that other space that was in the beginning of the video. That's what I'm gonna put here. So I'm gonna use this for future planting in the next couple of weeks. I'm hoping to start my fall seeds today. But bare earth will grow weeds. So if I leave this uncovered, all that weeding I just did is literally for nothing. So I am going to today, right away, just lay down cardboard, and I'm gonna come down and lay down straw on top of the cardboard. And a cardboard and a heavy straw layer work beautifully for everything other than thistle. Thistle will go right through that. We will pull the thistle and we will handle the thistle as it comes. But everything else, the grasses and just kind of those nuisance weeds, cardboard and a thick layer of straw. And the best part about that is that also feeds the soil. So for me, it is taking me years to build up the soil because I didn't really truck in dirt. I trucked in dirt 1 year. I did 2 cubic yards last summer or last spring. And if you know anything about dirt, 2 cubic yards is nothing. I just did dirt for where that brassica bed is now, because that was kind of like a rocky area. So I haven't really brought in a lot of dirt. I bring a couple bags here at a time, but the main way that I continually build up my dirt is cardboard, it's straw, it's with my own compost, it's with the rabbits poop, the rabbit compost, and it takes time, but you do get there. So what I like about this method here is I'm mulching to keep the weeds down, but it also will break down and feed my soil. So I got a new toilet this year, and so I have a big old box. I'm not gonna put the picture on it. I'm gonna rip the picture off of it or not use this side. But I'm gonna put the rest of the cardboard, cover this, and then put straw. And then when I'm ready to plant in it, I'll bring a knife out and I'll kind of cut holes in the cardboard. Typically, if you get a lot of rain and the cardboard is wet, you can kind of just tear the cardboard away. It'll start breaking down very quickly. But if it's not, I'll just bring a knife and I'll cut the holes for where I want to put the plants. So I'm gonna stop talking because it's getting kind of late and getting a little darker. So let me go ahead and get this cardboard laid down. Okay. 10 minutes. And that's done. So I personally do think this also looks better than leaving it bare ground. I think it just makes it look cleaner. But with this, walk on this, water this, let it rain. I'm not gonna go in and water it today. But next time I do water my garden, next time I water some of my plants. I started carrots, I started peas. I have a couple of things I'm watering. The main garden at this point isn't getting watered, but next time I have the hose in the garden, I will give this some rain or some water. Let it get rain, let it be hosed on, walked on, rained on, and that'll start breaking that down. And that'll really, especially once it's wet and it really kind of seals and makes that kind of carpet that you're looking for, that'll really help keep down plants for a good while. It's my preferred method to, and I do this when I'm putting a garden to bed too. If I'm saying, okay, this garden's gonna sit until the spring, this is how I do it as well. I add fertilizers then, I add dried leaves, but this is 100% the start. And sometimes, depending on my schedule, all I get to do. So, we have one garden, technically put to bed, but we are gonna plant it. So we have one garden prepped for fall planting. So now we just need to get the rest, let me get you in a second. So now we just need to get the rest of this garden put to bed. So we still have time. I'm not like hurrying the garden out by any means, but I am tired of the overgrownness and the craziness. Happens every year. I want my organized garden back, and my August garden is my least favorite garden. She's wild. She's wonderful. She's bringing me the most food I get all year, but I really, really hate how it just all goes crazy. But thank you guys for joining me as we tour out the corn. And I don't know what the next video is going to be, but I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, friends.